Welcome to Take a Side, the sports talk show that lets you, the viewer, pick our winners. I'm your host, Jacob Polacheck, and we've got a great show for you today. As always, be sure to get on Sided.co and download the Sided Debates app to post your arguments and climb up that leaderboard. Shout out to last week's winner, Knight Rider, for standing atop Sided's leaderboard and taking home a $25 Amazon gift card. For our first debate today, we'll be talking LeBron's best teammate. After Anthony Davis hit a game-winning three on Sunday night to give the Lakers a 2-0 lead in the Western Conference Finals over the Denver Nuggets, is Anthony Davis the best teammate LeBron has ever had, or does that crown go to Dwayne Wade, who helped lead LeBron to his first two championships in Miami? I'm here with Jack McGar and Nick Sola joining us by Zoom to debate. Jack, who's LeBron's best teammate, AD or Dwayne Wade?
I mean, for me, it's easily Dwayne Wade in this case. I think when you look at what LeBron James was able to accomplish with the Heat, LeBron had easily his best years with the Heat when he was during that 4-year contract with them. And also, not to mention, he had two finals MVPs, two regular season MVPs. I mean, his stats were unmatched when he was with the Heat. I mean, he was really the go-to guy for them at all times. He was their leading scorer. He was the guy they went to take that last shot. He was really the best guy for them. And I think with Wade at the helm, at kind of the point guard position for them, just kind of getting LeBron James the ball whenever he needs it. I think that's what made him the best teammate for him, is when he was able to assist LeBron in getting those clutch baskets and when he was able to get him the points. Because I think with the Lakers now, LeBron has taken over that point guard role and he's more of an assist man instead of the go-to scorer for them. So I think for LeBron James, the best teammate for him was Dwayne Wade in that case, because he was able to really be the number one go-to person and the dog for the Heat. And of course, again, they won two finals with him. So.
Yeah, so if I'm picking as well as D Wade, was as a teammate to LeBron, I got to go Anthony Davis is the best all-around player he's ever played with. This is a guy that has averaged about 25 and 11 boards and about 2.5 blocks. Definitely the best defender LeBron's ever played with. And we've seen that he's coming into the league as a real scorer and someone who has that clutch gene that can perform well in the playoffs. And LeBron kind of can do what he does best, and that is facilitate by getting the ball to Anthony Davis. And he's just a great number two man that can be like, Kobe, Shaq, for LeBron. So that's my take.
I think really the only problem with Anthony Davis for me right now is that he's just a little too inconsistent right now. And I know it's only been a year with them two together. And I know there's still time to be had with them. But I think with Dwayne Wade, you were always able to get a consistent number two man. And he was always going to score in the double digits and maybe even in the 20s to, complement LeBron's 20 to 30 points a game. So I think really there, with scoring-wise, I think Dwayne Wade, too, was also a better teammate in the sense that he was more consistent. He was able to get LeBron the ball more than Anthony Davis was. And I think Anthony Davis, too, is also needing the ball more than Dwayne Wade was. I think when you give LeBron the ball, I think teams are better off when LeBron has the ball, because when LeBron has the ball, I mean, he can go down the paint and just freight train it to the rim. He can take a spot up three. I mean, he can do really anything. So I think with Dwayne Wade at the helm as a teammate, I think Dwayne Wade was able to highlight that. So I think, again, for me, Dwayne Wade was a better teammate.
I think what makes LeBron, such a great player is the way he can just run an offense, and the way, obviously he's proven that he can be one of the best scorers in the league, but now he's proven that he could be the best passer in the league. And when Dwayne Wade was on his team, it was more, D Wade getting the ball to LeBron. And now LeBron can take the ball out of his hands to AD if he wants, or he can take it himself. It's more like I would say, I could argue it's more of a dual threat than D Wade and LeBron was, just because of how lethal AD's game has become offensively, and as I said, defensively. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays off and how they perform in the playoffs. If they can get a ring, if they can get multiple, that'll be huge in this case. If we're talking AD versus D Wade.
I think for sure if LeBron and AD win a ring this year, I think the conversation gets a little closer, because I think once LeBron wins a ring with Anthony Davis, we can start really having that debate, especially if they win multiple. But I think right now it just needs time with Anthony Davis and LeBron. I think the more time you give them, the more lethal they're going to become, the more chemistry they're going to have. So I think that debate's going to get a lot closer with time. But I think as of right now, especially since we haven't seen LeBron win a ring with Anthony Davis, I think you have to give the best teammate to Dwayne Wade in the end. But that's just my opinion on that one. But I think, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. D Wade Hall of Fame level, right? In the Hall of Famers right now. Anthony Davis, I think, absolutely is on the right track. But we'll just have to see how it plays out.
Make sure to vote on Sided.com to the Sided.co to pick your favorite for LeBron's best teammate, and we'll go to commercial.
For students searching for a way to stay active in an outdoorsy way, the City of Lawrence has bike trails running in every direction, and with the new bike share program, we can stay in shape as we tour the sights of our beautiful city. Clinton Lake is only a short 30-minute bike ride away from Daisy Hill and has the most incredible sunset location in all of Lawrence. Walking campus may give you the KU calves, but biking can give you the KU thighs. Bike Lawrence today.
From adversity, we rose. We made history and became pioneers, voyagers, champions, Jayhawks. And when our chant rises, haunting and hallowed, Jayhawks are telling the world what's near. Victory.
You may not hear it at first, but it's there. Our chant, rising. On this summit, callings converge, voices unify into a chorus that sounds out for good, for greatness. Can you hear it?
Welcome back. Despite COVID-19 concerns, there have been numerous parties around Lawrence since the campus reopening, including a large gathering on Mississippi Street that caught the attention of social media users across the country. Given these parties, should students who are caught hosting large gatherings be expelled from the university? I'm here with Jerome Sweeney to hear his side.
I think it's very interesting that kids are throwing these parties, after they've all quarantined for the last 5 months, been away from the universities, that we were all well aware of, the penalties and of the disease and, what could happen. But I think expulsion is absolutely 100% ridiculous. They're college kids. You can't leave you can't have a college kid in college for 2 years, send them home for the rest of a semester, and then expect to bring them back and have nothing happen. It's like you take someone out of school, and then you bring them back and expect them not to try to go back to their normal lifestyle. I mean, it's very interesting because there's been a lot of social gatherings that have gone under the radar too, not just the one on Mississippi Street. So it's like the cops legally cannot do anything to these parties, and how can the university justify doing something if the Lawrence Police Department can't even justify doing anything? And I know they came out with with an ordinance that's going to bring house fines to the places that are throwing the parties. But I mean, it's just, I think it's end of the day, it's college kids being college kids, and there's nothing that you can do to stop college kids from being college kids and having fun with their friends. It's just, yes.
Well, I think that if the university has said that there's going to be severe penalties for hosting parties, then how do you expect students to follow these rules if the university doesn't follow through on enforcing them?
I don't think they will follow the rules, even in the first place. It's, the university, they can send out emails all they want. End of the day, it's the Lawrence Police Department needs to be enforcing it, and until the Lawrence Police Department is enforcing these regulations and laws, I don't think there's going to be any slowing down from any house party going on. You can keep the bars closed as long as you want. That's just going to bring more people to these types of house parties. As you see, it's just, I don't know. It's a very tough spot for the university and college students, the police department to be in. The CDC's in a tough spot right now because there's been, I think, 55,000 confirmed cases in Douglas County. There's only been 10 deaths, so I mean it's a very low fatality rate for this disease, but it is a very real disease. So, and it spreads very rapidly, and who knows where these kids are going after these parties. Who knows, are they going to class and seeing their professors, or are they going home to their families after that? I mean, I think there definitely needs to be some sort of a way to reprimand the students that are hosting these parties, but I don't think expulsion is just absurd because of all the money that they pay to be here. I mean, as an out-of-state student, it's very expensive to come just to the university, and I know rent for houses is not cheap. So they're putting it's an investment to come here, and like I said before, if you're, you send kids home after, a real college experience, social life, no masks, no social distancing, and then you bring them back with, not much to do, and, you keep them locked up, quarantining for, weeks, and then, they get out of their quarantine, they want to see their friends, they can't go to their favorite gathering places to see them, so then they're just going to, someone's going to throw a party, everyone's going to show up, and, it's going to make the news. It's a recipe for disaster is what it is.
Well, I know at the University of Missouri, they expelled some students, but some students were only given suspensions. Do you believe that suspension should be given to students who host parties?
I think that it should just be more of a, like a required quarantine for them, and then maybe almost like, I think it should just be a fine. A suspension is more, it's more like slap on the wrist, don't do your school. So if they get suspended for a party, it's going to be motivation for them not to attend their Zoom class, not to go to class. If you find them and next time you get a ticket or something on your permanent record, that will be the way to stop this. If not, it is just not gonna stop. Expulsion, that's not gonna stop kids from partying because they still have a lease and they signed a contract for their house. They can't get out of that contract for their house.
So you talked about a mandatory quarantine, but if these students are throwing parties, these are large gatherings, and we have students not being suspended, not being expelled, coming back on campus, how do we prevent this disease from spreading all across campus?
I think, the only way to do it would be, a mandatory 2-week quarantine for everyone on the university. Everyone needs to be tested more than they are now. I mean, everyone got tested once when they came back, and, it's just a random selection for these, tests. I think it should be, everyone should be tested once a month just to see. And I get that, you can develop antibodies for this, but at the same time, we need to be, keeping better track of this. I've only taken personally one test. And it's just random selection does not work. We need to be testing everyone. It's the only way to stop this is to know who has it at all times, know who they were in contact with, and it's not gonna. You can't stop it without testing people because I guarantee you, all the people at these parties got tested once, either tested positive or negative, quarantined for 10 days or so, and then they're like, "Oh, I'm fine." Go back to normal life is what they're trying to do.
So with the university, maybe they move towards potential quarantine for those students, maybe not doing suspensions or expulsions. That might be their answer, but I know that the vote on sided was near 50-50 the last time I checked, so be sure to get on sided, vote for the side that you think is right, and put your arguments on whether those students should be suspended, should they be expelled, or should they face no penalties. But Jerome, do you think that these parties will continue to happen on campus?
I don't see, what's going to stop them. I mean, these city ordinances, at the end of the day, it's literally the Lawrence Police Department is the only force that can stop them. The university they can keep putting out these memos about these parties, but the only people that enforce them are the police department. The police didn't do anything at that massive party on Mississippi Street, and they, there's just unless they can physically enter the building and clear out the parties, there's no way to stop it, because you can have 300 people inside a closed door and have no one even know about it. So it's got to be all parties communicating. It's a lot on the students for throwing it in the first place, which is dumb, but it's college, it's what they do. But the Lawrence Police Department needs to, take action in stopping all these parties from happening.
Well, I know this has been a controversial topic, so be sure to get on sided, vote for your side, and put up your arguments. We're going to take it to commercial, and we'll be right back.
For students searching for a way to stay active in an outdoorsy way, the City of Lawrence has bike trails running in every direction, and with the new bike share program, we can stay in shape as we tour the sights of our beautiful city. Clinton Lake is only a short 30-minute bike ride away from Daisy Hill and has the most incredible sunset location in all of Lawrence. Walking campus may give you the KU calves, but biking can give you the KU thighs. Bike Lawrence today.
From adversity, we rose. We made history and became pioneers, voyagers, champions, Jayhawks. And when our chant rises, haunting and hallowed, Jayhawks are telling the world what's near. Victory.
You may not hear it at first, but it's there. Our chant, rising. On this summit, callings converge, voices unify into a chorus that sounds out for good, for greatness. Can you hear it?
Welcome back. For our final debate of the day, we all saw the Kansas City Chiefs come back against the Los Angeles Chargers in a thrilling overtime win. Despite the loss, Chargers rookie quarterback Justin Herbert made quite the impression in his first career start, replacing injured starter Tyrod Taylor and throwing for 311 passing yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception, adding a touchdown on the ground as well. Given his performance, questions have arisen on if Herbert should be named the full-time starter. I'm here with Max McElroy and Marina Saver to debate. Max, what do you think? Who should the Chargers start at quarterback?
I think, honestly, this decision I think is quite obvious. I mean, you go with Justin Herbert. For one, he's got the hot hand. Super Bowl champs. Granted, they played a little sloppy, but 311 yards. He only threw 11 incompletions. I think the biggest thing for him, actually, that's different than Tyrod is that Justin Herbert used his legs a lot more than Tyrod did, and in the preseason, Tyrod Taylor was like, I think I'm comparable to, Lamar Jackson or Russell Wilson.
Because he is pretty mobile.
He is, and then I saw him against the Bengals, and he didn't use his feet that much. And Justin Herbert, first drive, 10-yard rushing touchdown. And then he had another play late in the game where he scrambled and kind of got like 7 or 8 yards. And so, yeah, he used his feet a lot more, and I really liked that, like what he showed out there. it was funny. He said in the pregame that he said he knew he was gonna be the starter 5 to 10 seconds before the kickoff.
Yep.
So at that time you don't have time to get nervous, and so he just had to just go in there and kind of do what he does. And I think he balled out. It's really interesting because I think he completely changed the Chargers offense in the best way possible. I mean, that's a team that scored 13 points against the Bengals defense,
Right.
which is really, really bad. And then all of a sudden they look actually really decent, and they look like they can go downfield a little bit. And then, I think he was helped a little bit by his running backs, but I think he should absolutely be the starter.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and act like he was not ridiculously impressive in his debut, because he was, save for a few, to be expected mistakes, and one that probably did end up ultimately costing them the game, but still impressive, especially considering the circumstances that, he said he didn't know until like 15 minutes before the game that he was going to be the starter. And this question that we're asking right now and that the Chargers are asking right now is one that tons of coaches and teams ask when you draft a rookie quarterback with the intention of developing him into your starting franchise quarterback, which is, do you start him right away and kind of throw him out there as a rookie, or do you take a step back and let him sit behind a veteran for a season or two? And I think Tyrod Taylor this year is serving a purpose greater than just being the starting quarterback for the Chargers, and that's to act as a mentor to Justin Herbert. Quarterbacks just need time to learn. The differences between the NFL and college football are so stark that it oftentimes causes a lot of really phenomenal college quarterbacks to do nothing in the NFL, just because, the complexity of offensive and defensive schemes and the speed of the players and just the talent and things like that are different, and you just need time to adjust. And again, Justin Herbert is and obviously will be the better quarterback in the future. He's going to be the Chargers franchise quarterback. But if they're not really playing for anything this year, I think having him sit behind a veteran who's well respected, who knows the ropes and can really just help him develop those leadership skills, and on top of learning the game, in addition to the fact that he didn't get a preseason this year, so that's another 4 or 5 games that he didn't get the opportunity to learn behind Tyrod Taylor for. I don't know. I just think if they keep Tyrod Taylor in week 3, I don't think one impressive performance from Justin Herbert, not to downplay it at all, but I don't think it's enough for them to just say, okay, Herbert's going in. If Tyrod Taylor isn't 100% week 3, Herbert's your starter, but he just needs time. And the model of having a rookie quarterback sit behind a well-experienced veteran is not uncommon or unsuccessful. It worked with Eli Manning. It worked with Phillip Rivers. The Chargers have done it once before. Aaron Rodgers, I'm pretty sure, sat his rookie year. And of course, the two most notable quarterbacks in the league right now, Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes, sat to some degree their rookie seasons. Mahomes sat the full season, and Jackson sat half and ultimately went in for an injured Joe Flacco. And now they're the best quarterbacks in the league. I just think throwing him in too early, it would worry me that it would do more harm than good. I mean, you look at a guy like Josh Rosen, who got thrown in way before his time, and I don't think his career is ever going to recover from that. Nobody wants him. He went from one worst team in the league to Miami after the Cardinals brought up Kyler Murray. So I don't know. I would just worry that the Chargers were being too hasty with Herbert, throwing him in before he's ready and not giving him the opportunity to really learn the ropes, to really earn the respect of his teammates, and to get acclimated to those differences between a program like Oregon and the NFL.
Well, I actually think that his college is helping him in the NFL. So he came in as a freshman, and he was there for 4 months, and then he became the starter for football.
Right.
And so he's already kind of had that same thing where he hasn't had a lot of time and he's had to learn the offense. And then each year he's had a new offensive coordinator in Oregon. And then he played well. I think he was going to be one of the top 10 quarterbacks drafted last year. But I think the most comparable thing to Justin Herbert is actually Daniel Jones. So Eli Manning was the starter. They drafted Daniel Jones at the same spot the Chargers drafted Justin Herbert, and they really didn't have an intent to play him. And then Eli Manning was out for the game. Daniel Jones becomes the starter, and then immediately Daniel Jones just gives the team juice. Against that Buccaneers game last year, it was if Eli Manning was down 16 points, the team does not believe they win that game. But if the Chargers get down, Justin Herbert elevated their team. I mean, Keenan Allen actually had yards yesterday, which is different than the Bengals game. I think the Daniel Jones situation, I mean, literally Daniel Jones' nickname is Danny Dimes, and he got that because, he can actually throw the ball a little bit better than Eli Manning. He can make more plays. And I think Justin Herbert just made more plays than Tyrod Taylor, and I don't know why you wouldn't go with him. I mean, especially if you're a team that has the 6th overall pick, chances are you're trying to rebuild your team, rebuild your roster a little bit. And so why would you not just kind of have him, and you could say throw him into the fire, even though I think he looked calm under pressure, and you could see him smiling out there, which is something that I think is great to see. He's just having fun, and kind of carved out the Chiefs defense a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to throw him in ahead of his time again, but like it also does help that the Chargers defense really stepped up, and like it doesn't matter even if Mahomes had an off game, like no one can do anything if the defense is getting to the quarterback in 2 seconds, you know, and that's kind of what was happening. It was almost a little jarring to watch because Mahomes didn't look like Mahomes. He didn't have time to get a playoff, really, a lot of those drives. So I don't know. I think that definitely helped Justin Herbert look a little bit better just in terms of actually having a fighting shot at winning the game because the defense really did step up considering who they were playing, the best offensive team in the league right now. But yeah, I don't know. And say what you want about Tyrod Taylor. He's still a career-winning quarterback. He's oddly enough been to the Pro Bowl and was then invited back the next season. I know Pro Bowls, I mean, Mitchell Trubisky went to the Pro Bowl, but it's still, you know, shocking. It was shocking for me to read that. So I don't know. I think he has that, obviously, the veteran mentality because he is a veteran, and that's something that a quarterback like Justin Herbert could really learn from. And I think he would do well to maybe take a step back and observe behind a veteran like Tyrod Taylor, really learn, really get adjusted, earn the respect of his teammates. I think that's a big thing because in Oregon, like you talk about him coming in as a freshman, being the starter in 4 months, I think it's a little bit different in college because now he's come into the NFL and is, you know, the youngest guy on his team. And I think he's going to need time to really get the respect and trust of his teammates. But I don't know, he's going to be a fun one to watch, and I can't wait to see the season play out.
Absolutely. Well, and I'm going to ask you one more question. Don't you think that Justin Herbert could be the starter and then Tyrod Taylor mentors him in practice and on the sidelines and kind of throughout the game?
Yeah, I do think that, but then again, I just go back to the whole thing about Josh Rosen and so many other quarterbacks who've crashed and burned after being thrown in ahead of their time. And to me, one impressive performance, even with several rookie mistakes, is not enough to throw him in there. I think he still is going to need a little bit of time. Again, if Tyrod Taylor isn't 100%, Herbert goes in and he's your starter. But other than that, I just think what's the rush?
Yeah. I understand where you're coming from. I just think if the Chargers are still, wanting to win, what team wants to lose? I think Herbert is by far the best bet. And Anthony Lynn is clearly not excited about Herbert. Showed that he had really no belief in him by calling him literally just a backup, which is never something you want to hear.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how the season plays out. And I think regardless, he's going to be a phenomenal quarterback as his career develops.
I agree.
All right. Well, we're going to throw it back over to Jacob. Thanks for sticking with us.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us. Be sure to get unsided and keep climbing up that leaderboard. For all of us here at Take a Side, I'm Jacob Polacheck, and we'll see you next week.